As of update 1.14, pillagers are added to Minecraft, and with them came a new structure called the Pillager Outpost, and it sucks. I mean, for starters, majority of the loot is potatoes, which unless you're Technoblade, is useless. On top of that, it's just a single tower. Today, we're going to remake Minecraft's Pillager Outposts, and hopefully they'll turn out better. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button to show your support for the channel. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Now, as always with my improvement builds, anything that's kind of a medieval style, I feel like a wall can add a lot of detail without sacrificing the original build itself. Now, I know there's not much to sacrifice here, as this is a very low effort structure made by Microsoft, and honestly, one person could have designed this thing in maybe like 2 hours, and they had, what was it? I think 8 months before this update came out, and they had that long to design this thing, and this is what they came up with. So I know it's not much sacrifice here, but I do want to keep a lot of that original tower there, so it kind of does resemble a pillager outpost. And for the wall design, I figured it might be best to go with a simple square courtyard style wall that also has a bit of a medieval touch, because I feel like that preserves a lot of the building, like I said, and it doesn't sacrifice much. Wanted to add this small little gate opening here, just so I guess the pillagers could enter and exit at free will to protect the inside and outside. And if they did add this to the game, which would be awesome, Microsoft, I full permission for them to steal this entire build, to be honest. Just give me credit. But I feel like it could add a lot of excitement to finding a pillager outpost, because not only could you really turn it into a functioning base from this point, you could also, you know, get loads better loot, and it'd be a lot harder to raid the thing. Right now, it's as simple as holding out a shield, going inside, killing a couple pillagers, and then taking the potatoes they have. I kid you not, best loot I've ever found in one of these things is an enchantment bottle. That's it. So, not very exciting right now, but it could be improved, like what I'm doing here. And that is the wall finish. As you can see, it appreciates the medieval style, and I think it's a very nice touch. Even if I left it here, it would be an upgrade in my opinion, but we're not that lazy around here, okay? We're not Microsoft. With that being said, I think it's time to move into the next part of the build. Now, before we actually move on to the decor of this thing, I figured it might be best to work on the terraining inside, because I feel like if they're going to go through all the effort of putting up a wall and having a courtyard style, they're not going to have all these holes here. So I figured it might be best to, you know, patch them up for them. And I also, since they, you know, raid a lot of villages, they would probably see the grass paths they have, so I wanted to kind of steal that idea from the villages. And I think it adds a very nice touch here. And that, just with the paths added, to be honest, I think it's a huge improvement. It makes the build feel a lot more lived in, and could add a lot of backstory kind of to it, and make them seem like they're a little bit smarter than just some barbarians. Now, I don't know if that plays into the lore that they are more than barbarians and they're, you know, a little bit smarter. Maybe that's why it's a simple tower that they have, but there's definitely a little bit of architecture going on with this tower, so they must be somewhat smarter than just barbarians. I don't know. Anyways, with this shop design, I was originally just going to go with, you know, a blackstone kind of wall thing, but I figured they were a little bit too chunky and took up too much of the shop. So we're currently building a armorer's station right here. So, you know, your weapons, like swords, your shields, your armor, all that, get it from this guy. And then the Fletcher kind of thing, which if they raid villages, they would probably get the same thing. Obviously, get your arrows, crossbows, and all that from there. Now next, I noticed that they kind of had these crappy targets. I don't know if they're meant to be scarecrows or not, because there aren't any actual crows in the game. The only bird is the parrot, which I hope that changes sometime soon, because that would be wonderful. But I figured they always have enchanted items, so other than targets, they're also going to need an enchanting table. How else do they get these enchanted crossbows and stuff that they have usually? And I added some banners on each corner just to kind of mark the territory a little bit better. Also, obviously, they gotta have some sort of food source, so we're gonna put a small wheat farm back here, which I assume they could have gotten, you know, all this kind of stuff from raiding villages they could have learned, I feel like. And that is the decoration. That is the decor done. Now, next, I want to kind of work on the loot room here, so I'm going to have a pillar that kind of goes all the way through the build right here up into the loot room. I feel like that could be a great start for it. And then, of course, we're going to add some lighting up here other than just some torches that are on top of the build. I feel like lanterns could suit a nice medieval build pretty well. And now that we have the lanterns put in, I think it's time to fix the whole loot issue that I've been complaining about nonstop since the beginning of this video. Okay, voice over me seems to have forgotten that I put little gates there, nice touch, and got rid of the torches as well. Okay, we can work on the loot room now past me. Okay, there we go. And now we're back to working on the pillar, and we're going to add in the other chest. I kind of took some inspiration from the desert temple, how it has, you know, 4 chests around the thing. This one has 3, and, you know, it doesn't have to have as good of loot as a desert temple, because I can understand that the desert temple is meant to be like Egyptian, and they have all these diamonds and stuff. But I think this chest arrangement is quite a bit better. And now, I guess we can start moving around this ridiculously slow. I don't know what I was doing while recording this. And now we're kind of going to put some basic loot in there. We got an enchanted golden apple, you know, some eggs, wheat, rotten flesh, iron, gold, all that good stuff. And then this one, I feel like we could put a couple diamonds in there just to make it a little bit, you know, more exciting to find one of these things. Just because it's so bland right now. And then this one, of course, just a basic desert temple kind of chest. Not as great loot, but still some loot nonetheless. And that is the pillager outpost done with the loot room installed, which I think with the lanterns and everything makes such a huge improvement, man. It looks so much better now, especially with the top section being lit up instead of just being a kind of dark thing during the day. Mwah. Now, let's fix the issue of traps. My issue with Pillager Outposts is the only thing that they have for them to protect themselves is a pillager, which I guess it makes sense because the loot isn't all that great, so it should be at least easy to get, but still, it kind of defeats the purpose of them being some actually legit base. So we're going to go ahead and add in a basic arrow dispenser here with some poison arrows. I'm gonna fill both of these up here, and then I'll show you guys in a second. This is the only trap we're gonna add, just because I couldn't really think of many other actual legit Minecraft traps. But as you can see, it shoots out 2 arrows of poison, and then when you walk off, it shoots off another one. So, I mean, now we're working on the rest of the tower, just some small details in here to make it a little bit better. I figure right there it would be best to add a little bit of detail there. And this room is actually really plain, so what we're going to do here is make it a somewhat showcase room where they have these item frames up here, and we have a couple of things in the item frames. I think it'd be really cool if in these item frames they would add some sort of randomized loot chance. For example, say what could we put in these? Crossbow, 2 crossbows, a bow. Nah, not arrows. Some bottles of enchanting. And, you know, just basic stuff like this would be cool to find. And then maybe a totem of undying as well, I'm thinking. Past me. You passed the totem of undying. There you go. Okay. Now we have the totem of undying in here, which I think would be really cool to add that kind of loot to this. And this is the finished product. And I'd say it's an improvement, actually. Unlike some of my other builds where I try to improve Minecraft, I think this one actually worked out pretty well. If you think the same, make sure you go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out more than most people realize. Anyways, peace out and stay golden.